This is the story of this man. And he wakes up inside of a ruin, an abandoned house. It's an abandoned castle. And he's completely confused. He can't find his usual things. He can't find his usual objects. His usual clothes aren't there. But hanging up is a suit. And he knows he's meant to put the suit on. And it's suddenly very clear. He gets a phone call and he tells them, I'm on my way. It's his wedding day and he needs to find the place he's getting married. I'm so curious about the idea of performance as a way of writing. So, and so wherever there's crossovers of performance, not just acting, but performative elements and how that is a writing process. The cave for me is really in relation to what I've known here, which is the boards. So in a way I couldn't help but kind of, have this experience of the boards and then the cave. And the cave was like diving into the board, like physicality suddenly became really important. The way you hang something, the way there is too much, the way chaos is frustrating you, the way something sits in the middle or doesn't, which a board can't do. Like a cave gives you that physical space. This idea also of chaos, which is interesting because it's such a...
He's alone.
Yeah, he's alone, but it's a very peaceful image in a way. And yet there's chaos.
And surrounded by nature. It's nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like getting lost and finding again, because you've got this physical space. So in a way, I was understanding the cave as this place where you really can deconstruct everything, put it, and then the movement around it is the process. In the cave, you're getting to know and understand, this universe, or how this universe is growing. You're kind of thinking of the writers in a way, or I was thinking of the writers in the space, trying to understand them, trying to understand where they might have connections or what is really drawing them in. In a way, the cave is a co-writer. It's like something, a physical space that is prompting these ideas to move forward. When you're in front of a screen, you are faced with only what you have in that moment. There are two characters in a way, and the initiator of the journey at the moment is a man, to whom we don't know what age yet.
Oh, no, yeah. Well,
who then encounters a woman. So this is as it stands. So things getting extricated and seeing what's there, that's the essence. Let's rebuild around that. How do you do that with words? They don't have a texture to them. They're kind of abstract in a way. This is not abstract. Like this is you are a person working with your hands, which maybe writing should be and is. This is what the cave does. And I was looking at this person who I was just so deeply in love with. And it was overwhelming me to feel her touch and to feel the way she was holding me, the way I was holding her. When you think of the Black Room, I mean, the intimacy is palpable. Like you're a group of people who don't know each other and suddenly you're in a very dark space. And if you're embodying a character, you don't know where that's going to go. The experience was going in over a threshold where suddenly you all face the same conditions. There's no light, or there's a small light you carry in, and then suddenly there's darkness. You're in a reclined position, all of us stepping over into that threshold and responding not to visuals, but just to imagination. It made me think of this idea of collective dreaming, that you're all connected in on this one dream, in a way responding in your own ways, and hearing each other's experiences afterwards and having your own experience. I was floating inside of that space, inside the Black Room, and in that floatingness, I wasn't connected to, ideas of criticism or judgment or hierarchy of story, or even what needs to happen in the story, what needs to happen with the characters. It was a very trance-like, spellbound experience, which is not what we're trying to get, or it is what we're trying to get in cinema. You know, are these moments that aren't just the narrative taking us there, this character even taking us there, but these spellbound moments that don't really have an explanation. So it is, how do we access that? And this room for me was like that, but in collectivity with other co-writers or participants at the same time. Why? All I hear when they talk is that I wasn't a good mother, that I couldn't be a good mother. It's everything I wanted to be. I wanted him to look at me. For me, what was so startling was in one of the exercises, it was a really deep and profound meeting of grief. And in that, I was, as the character, so distressed by that grief. I couldn't believe what it meant to really lose someone that you love. It was so, so deep. It was really like I was living it and understanding it. And as soon as we came out of it, it was also light and distant, like I was looking at it from across the other side of the room. So you're going deep, you're going to deep waters, but at the same time, you know, when the lights come up or when you step out, there's a distance to it, you know, and it was all part of this material and exploration, so it's still playful, even though you might still be wiping away your tears. I don't think I've done something so liberating in my creative development work, honestly. It was really profound. I've never done anything like it before.
Okay.
I think my shape feels maybe like a coastline or a map or a geography or a cliff or jagged, something uncertain yet cohesive and long. The plateau was maybe the exercise that I had no idea when it started where it would end up. In both watching it as a spectator, the first one, and in ours as well. And of course they were completely different, you know, situations. So it was absolutely fascinating in a short time what can be built by, in a way, what seems very small or simple or even banal at a time. You're describing an object very frontally. This is just what it is. The colors, the this, the that. It felt like a thread that was like slowly unraveling. This is a clock. It's says it's made in Shanghai, China, and the numbers look like they're from a different decade, maybe as far back as the 60s, but maybe the 80s. There was a feeling of everything being blown up in that space, and then the players catching those pieces and putting them back together. Like complete chaos playing out in a space with witnesses. Like there were multiple chaotic situations happening. There was a character being interviewed by their enemy, which could have been a psychiatric nurse in a way. There was scriptwriters trying to make sense of different spaces of time for this character who had kind of multiple sides of him, and it was total chaos. And then at some point the chaos would come into these kind of corners and make connections that were very deep, like very deep connections for that story. This is him in childhood, this is him young, so there's a certain comfort, there's a softness, and at the same time there's a wounding on his back that is healing or trying to heal. And underneath his bed are these stars, so it has me thinking he's always had them, these stars, these ways of, you were so descriptive that there would not be a gun, there would be these stars, and that these stars might have been present since very young. This was this kind of fluid space that feels almost uncontrollable, that we don't have in everyday life. When we sit down and write, we're using the power of our control so much. We're playing gods to our own script, you know. So to go to these spaces, like dreamscapes, like these liminal spaces, this was a liminal space for me, where anything could happen in all its discomfort and all of its revelations. So body and space, in this context, what we did over this time creates discomforts, it creates disruptions and revelations.